This is Rap the News. Today we're going to be addressing arguments. The first thing in an argument is to not argue. That's number one. And how do you do that? You have to establish an order. You have to say everyone's going to get a chance to speak. We're not all going to speak at the same time, because when you are speaking at the same time, it becomes chaos and it becomes an argument and it becomes very overwhelming. When you're talking at the same time and going back and forth and yelling, that ain't going to work. I'm going to allow you to talk. You're going to allow me to talk. You got to identify, to stop arguing, identify the problem. In an argument, chaotic people is going to throw up what you did 7 years ago, what happened 2 years ago, what they think you're thinking, and this and that and how they was feeling about that, and something that happened in the past in their family. You stick to the point. You deal with the issue at hand, and that's what you have to do. And then if they have other issues at hand that need to be resolved, you deal with things one at a time. The thing in an argument or a debate is to not argue and to keep everything in order and at hand. Meaning that basically you don't let people get out of hand. If somebody wants to, and this is what we do in our house, keep talking, bickering randomly, we all sit down and say a prayer. Even if that person don't want to pray or say a prayer, we all keep saying a prayer. You can't get up and leave an argument because it's going to be prolonged. All you're doing when you get up and leave in an argument is making it last another day, or 2 days, or 3 days, or a week. You got to stay right there and resolve peacefully, and this is why we have the scriptures. The scriptures is telling us what to do in everything that we do, so that we don't engage each other in arguments. We establish who's in charge, who is going to talk first to resolve. We're not arguing, we're resolving. Address only the issue at hand. Don't talk about the past. Don't talk about what happened 7 years ago. Only the issue at hand. And so everybody don't talk at the same time. And you got a person that want to continuously talk, then just like I said, then everybody say a prayer. And you pray the demon out the house, because that's a demon. You know, they don't want the order. When somebody don't want order, they want chaos. That's a devil. And so you have to keep the order. And then basically, once you say what you had to say, you don't say nothing when someone else has something to say, because then you're prolonging the argument. The argument, you want to get it nipped in the ass and out of the way as fast as possible. So you have to say, okay, we're going to be fair and just. I'm going to give everybody a chance to talk. Everybody don't talk at one time. We're going to do this one at a time. We're going to do it in an order. You know, everybody say what's on their mind, and then by the scriptures, we are going to resolve it. You can't do it the street way. You can't do it the way your parents did it. You can't do it the way you learned over here and over there. You can't do it by calling the police every 5 seconds. No. You got to do it by the scriptures. And so again, the first thing that you want to do in an argument is not be in one. We're going to make it about resolve. We ain't going to make it about an argument. An argument is somebody say a bunch of mean, stupid shit, venting all of their frustrations out, and just screw up some more shit for later on. You know, you're going to remember what you said and all this kind of, we don't express feelings like that. Feelings is not your religion. Obeying God is the religion. And so, again, it has to be a leader. It has to be an order. We have to identify what the problem actually is, and then we have to come up with a resolution by the book. And then we don't talk. It has to be rules of engagement. We don't talk at the same time, because when we're talking at the same time, we're arguing. The whole thing is not to argue. Because when you argue, God steps in and things get subtracted out of your life. Bad things start happening. things start going downhill quickly. People get animosity and bad taste in their mouth and ill feelings towards each other, and then pretty soon Israel don't want to deal with Israel no more. And so that it don't get that bad, we have to do things in an orderly fashion. So again, we're talking about arguing. We're talking about establishing what's the problem. Once we establish what's the problem, we do it in an orderly fashion. The leader talks by the scriptures. Well, in this case, this is what God wants us to do. He wants us to give charity. He wants us to do this. He wants us to do that. He don't want us to hoard, and things like that. And then if we're going to spend money, we can't be extravagant. We can't do this. We can't do it to show off. We can't do it to be seen of men and things like that. We got to be casual with everything that we do. We have to spend for the need of the family, to keep the order and to keep the peace, and we have to be fair and just. So, I know a lot of us are arguing because times is getting bad, people are sick, money is low, you have to move in with each other, and I'm just trying to give you 20 years or more experience of dealing with arguments, and basically you don't deal with arguments. When someone is arguing, immediately we resolve. When someone has a problem, immediately we resolve. We have solutions, people, and that's why God gave us the book, and that book is to resolve and any issue that Israel is having. If you have an issue that Israel is having and it ain't in the book, then you do it in an orderly, godly fashion. What's fair and equitable to everybody involved. So again, just a recap. The number one thing is we ain't going to talk at the same time, because that's an argument. We're trying to avoid the argument, period. In an argument, you don't want to argue. Number two, you establish a leader, and the leader calls the shot. He's a shot caller. All right. Once you establish the leader speaks, and then the leader gives others a chance to speak their case and plead their case. We stick to the subject matter. We don't talk about something that happened 15 years ago. We don't talk about what our parents went through and all this crap. We stick to what the general problem is. Once we identify the general problem, then we go to the scriptures and we resolve that problem by the scriptures. You don't want to do it the street way. You don't want to do any way but God's way, because you'll get the best results. And then when you get everybody going by the scriptures, the arguments is going to become less and less and less and less. And so we address one problem at a time. We don't let somebody just spew out a bunch of things that make it all chaotic and confusing. We're going to say, okay, we'll get to those other issues if those other issues need to be addressed, but we're dealing with this subject matter at this particular time. When someone is talking and they won't stop and they being disrespectful, everybody just pray to God for help. You have to, because like the book is saying, you may not believe it, but you ain't dealing with flesh. You're dealing with principalities in high places. You're dealing with demons, and these people are demonically possessed, and you may not know it and they may not know it, but they are. And the demon is causing all these ill feelings inside of a person. We don't walk away and leave, because that's going to prolong the problem and make it very frustrating and aggravating to live. It causes a hell of a lot of stress when you don't resolve the problem immediately. If anybody have any questions about arguing or anything else, leave it in the comments. This is Wrap the News.